What's going on, guys? Cyn for the win here, and late last night, while probably you were asleep, a pretty big trade happened between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Montreal Canadiens. Pacioretty heads to Vegas, and Montreal gets back Tomas Tatar, Nick Suzuki, and a 2019 second, with no conditions tied to it. This is a hard 2019 second. Now, when we kind of break this trade down and look at it on paper, it seems kind of even. You can maybe even give Montreal a slight edge just because of the future thing. Another thing to note is that both teams retained salaries. Pacioretty was retained by 10%, and Vegas retained almost 10%, 9.5. It's some crazy fraction on Tatar. Now, obviously, Tatar is signed till I think 2021, so that's a few more years of cap. But of course, his hit was a bit lower as well. Either way, but what I find interesting about this is that Tatar was involved in this trade. Now, to really understand, I think, my position on this trade and the factors that go into why this trade is kind of so significant on Vegas's end is you got to remember how much they gave up for Tatar. That was a lot of picks. Wasn't it like a first, second, and a third? That's a lot. And now you also cough up a 2019 second as well as one of the better prospects that you're going to see right now. Nick Suzuki is no joke. Some people say he's undersized to be playing center. I mean, he's 5'11". Pavelski played center for a long time at 5'11". There's plenty of, smaller forwards in general who can really get the job done. And in today's NHL, with the speed that someone like Suzuki has with his hands, I don't think it's much of an issue. Besides, I'm pretty sure he would be able to play wing as well if you really needed him to. And is anyone going to say Patrick Kane doesn't get the job done because he's undersized? I don't think so. So I think this was I feel so weirded out saying this. This was a tremendous pickup for Montreal. I don't know. I didn't know Bergevin could win at anything, but I think he won this trade only based on the fact of how much Vegas has had to give up to really make this trade go through. Because you kind of have to consider what they gave up for Tatar. I mean, didn't seem like he was really in their long-term plans to begin with, and you gave up 3 pretty significant picks for him. I don't know. It's great. Like, this works out tremendously for Vegas in the short term, but I mean, when you start with an expansion, you have all that success early on, you got all those picks, and then you start trading those picks away. I kind of start to worry about what their situation is going to be like in a few years. Are they going to be able to draft enough and be able to keep all their players? Like, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of young talent. William Karlsson is going to be fantastic. Riley Smith is, Marches, so they're still young enough. They still got a lot of, some solid years out of those guys, but you lose James Neal to free agency. Marc-Andre Fleury is starting to get up there. I don't think he'll be declining within the next few years, but I'm thinking, 5 years down the road here, how's this going to look for Vegas? And I don't know, but that's where my position comes in. I think Vegas wins short term, but Montreal definitely wins long term. I mean, I've been chirping Montreal for the past 3 years now about having no centers and them drafting no centers. Now, what do you think? They got Kotkaniemi? I think Poling is that? I think that's him. And now they have Nick Suzuki. They're looking pretty good for the future. That's pretty solid. And those are new age NHL players. And then you think, they also acquired Domi. It sucks they lost Galchenyuk, but I was, told he's not much of a center anymore anyway, playing more wing. Domi's pretty solid. I still feel like they lost on that Galchenyuk trade, but that's personal opinion. But, you still have Drouin. It's looking a lot better. It's looking a lot better for Montreal in the next couple of years. So if they can draft smart with that pick and Suzuki develops pretty well, they're going to be in pretty good shape. And hopefully towards the tail end of Carey Price's contract, they could be a contender again. We hope. But also, poor Carey Price. Dude's going to show up to training camp and be like, where is everyone? Oh, man. So, yeah, that's pretty much most of the stuff I wanted to cover, but I definitely want to hear your guys' opinions on this. Who do you guys think wins the trade? And is there any X factors that you think I missed out on? But like I said, when I really started to take a look at that trade, my first initial thought was it's a pretty solid trade. I don't really, both teams kind of get what they're after, especially Vegas. Losing James Neal, you want to replace that, kind of goal scorer, and Pacioretty's definitely going to do that. I mean, I think he's got a shot for 35-40 this year. And playing with William Karlsson, wow, that's going to be, and probably Riley Smith too. Wow, that's going to be a pretty scary line there. You know, after losing Neal and some other stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think they'll be as good as they were last year. I still think they can make the playoffs. But Pacific, I think, is going to be a lot more competitive than it was last year, especially now that Calgary has James Neal. Maybe they can creep in, and you know, LA picking up Kovalchuk. You know, maybe, I don't think it's going to work for them long term at all, but it might work for them this year. We'll have to see. Pacific's going to be an interesting race this year, that's for sure. I thought it was going to be a much more interesting race last year, but Vegas ran away from it. But this year, I think it'll be more interesting. But you never know. Vegas can still surprise everyone. But yeah, what else here? Montreal. They're kind of doing what they need to do, as hurtful as it is, and how much it sucks after giving Carey Price such a massive deal. And it's kind of like, you know, we need a win deal, but picking up all those young guys, you'll be able to save that money down the road too. You know, you'll have these younger guys on there, you know, their build-up contract towards their, you know, towards their prime contracts when they do get paid. By that time, Carey Price will likely be on his way out or close to retirement. So you put yourself in a better position like that. And like I said, it's very weird that I'm not just handing an L to Bergevin, because that's usually what happens. So Montreal fans, there may be a light at the end of the tunnel. There may be a little bit of hope for Bergevin, because as much as it hurts to watch Pacioretty go, you guys got great return for him. Tomas Tatar, you know, take him or leave him. He's a serviceable player, but Suzuki is going to be really damn good, I think. And that's second too. Now, another X factor that I almost forgot, and you guys are definitely going to bring up. What happens if Pacioretty doesn't re-sign in Vegas? I'm sure, I'd like to hope that McPhee talked to him and be like, tried to assure some kind of talks about an extension. But if he didn't, this is even more of a massive gamble for Vegas. Because if he doesn't re-sign, you got to think, you're out a first, a second, a third, another second. Nick Suzuki, who was a great prospect, I think, in first round, probably first round. Yeah, I'm pretty sure first round. So that's like 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third you've given up for that. And if you only get him for 1 year, that's completely not worth it. So you better hope that he signs, and at least some kind of like 4 years. At least like a 4-year deal, 4 or 5 years. That's what you gotta hope for. You really need Pacioretty to sign for at least 4 to 5 years. And you know, like I said, I'm almost certain that McPhee would have had some kind of discussion about it, because I know at the draft, Doug Wilson was talking to Montreal about trading for Pacioretty, and you know, he wouldn't pull any sort of trigger unless there's a guarantee that Pacioretty would sign. Not just a talk, like there would have to be a guarantee that he would sign, and that's very smart to do. So I'm hoping McPhee did that, but you know, I'm not too. I've talked to some formal, you know, Capitals fans and stuff like that, and you know, he does have a tendency to kind of pull the trigger on some things when he shouldn't, or at least like try to fix things that aren't broken and stuff like that. So let's hope that he did all the things right in this case, and has, you know, pretty much guaranteed that Pacioretty will have contract talks and will sign with that team for at least, like I said, 4 years. That's got to be their bare minimum. You at least need to get him for 4 years, after giving up all that. And you know, like I said again, it doesn't. When you put it on paper, it's like they didn't honestly give up that much. Tatar isn't amazing. Suzuki's a great prospect, and a second isn't amazing, and Pacioretty's a great player, like 30, 40 goal scorer most likely. But like I said, you have to account for what Vegas paid for Tatar, and that was a bad trade from day one, and was never going to be a good trade no matter what happened, really. And damn, that you flip him so quickly. Granted, you flip him in a deal to get a great goal scorer, but those 3 picks, big. Those are big. You can't. There's no other way around that. Those are big picks, and something that a rebuilder team, well, a builder team, I guess, since they're so new, you are going to need a future. And granted, they have a great present. They do have a great young core for the most part, but you know, those picks are still important in my opinion. And you know, you got to start to wonder, is Subban going to be a starter whenever Fleury leaves? What are they going to do for that? Is, you know, all their other prospects who did great when Fleury was injured. Don't get me wrong, but again, that was a magical season for Vegas, the likes of which that we may never see again, even from them. Like, that's the beauty about hockey. It's just this beautiful unscripted reality show where something that you least expect can happen. And this, you know, we'll see. It might be back to reality for that team, and they might, you know, it might not work out for them as well this year. Well, we'll see. Again, Pacioretty is a phenomenal player, and he can bring a lot to Vegas, and Vegas is definitely going to be a competitor again, no question about it. And Montreal is getting themselves more and more set for the future. So, yeah, as I said, overall, looks even on paper. I think Montreal wins out for the long term. Vegas, you better hope you can sign Pacioretty, and you've sacrificed a lot of picks for this, so you better hope that you can continue to make deep playoff runs, because there's a lot of the future that's been sacrificed for all this. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you were up for that trade. I want to see who else is a night owl like me, because damn. When that popped up on my Twitter, actually, one of you guys messaged me about that, and I was like, holy crap, no way. I had to check immediately, and then, yeah, then I accidentally fell asleep. I was going to make a video, and I fell asleep like an idiot. I'm terrible. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. If watching my videos just isn't enough sin for you, be sure to go over there on Twitter and shoot me a follow, and you could even join our Discord server as well to talk with some of the other sinners out there. The links to both are in the description.